Hi, I'm Peter Boita, and over the next few minutes I'm going to be sharing a lot of my memories working with the great composer and arranger Richard Hewson, and especially on so many RAH band tracks. The RAH band story really starts in the 70s. I was booked by a fixer, as was known in the music business, called Tony Gilbert, who was a very, very good session violinist and leader of orchestras. So I got a call one day that said, be at R.G. Jones from 10 to 1 on whatever day it was in Wimbledon. You're going to be working for the arranger-composer Richard Hewson on a personal project that he has called the RAH Band. I duly arrived at R.G. Jones' studio around 9:15, got all my drums into the studio and started setting them up. A little while later, a very nice chap rolled up in a very nice Jaguar and proceeded to pull out of the back seat an 8-track recorder. Intrigued, I said, "Hello, I'm Peter, I believe we're working together today." And he said, "Hello, I'm Richard, I'm just going to get my 8-track recorder into the control room." In the early days, that was Richard's preferred method of working. He would work on his own tracks at his home studio with his 8-track recorder, which was quite a thing back in those days, coming to R.G. Jones, set his 8-track recorder up, take all those 8 tracks off onto the 24-track recorder at R.G. Jones with the help of the very, very good engineer Nick Sykes, and there we were. We had a lot more tracks to be able to track onto the original RAH Band 8-track stereo. As an aside, I had 2 Gretsch brand drum kits from the 60s and the 70s. These I combined into one set, 22-inch bass drum and 4 tom-toms. I also had a brass-shelled pearl 6.5-inch deep side drum, which was really the thing that powered those RAH band tracks along in the original era. When we were all set up and Nick Sykes had an amazing drum sound at R.G. Jones' studio, bear in mind, I was the only player in the studio at the time. Richard would say, "Okay, here comes the track, Peter." I would hear this on my headphones, and because Richard was so fastidious and so well organised, these tracks were perfect. Not only that, they'd been done to a click track and or a drum machine, so the timing was perfect. All I had to do was sit in the track, play my best, and wait for the results. As was evident some way down the line, the RAH Band really seemed to take off. I loved the music. I thought the jazz funk thing, which was quite ahead of its time. The great thing about these tracks was that they were all from Richard's amazing arrangement and intuition and imagination.
Good evening. This is the intergalactic operator. Can I help you?
Yes, I'm trying to reach Flight Commander P.R. Johnson on Mars Flight 247.
Very well. Hold on, please. You're through.
Thank you, operator.
Hi, darling. How you doing? Hey, baby.
Naturally, of course, the landmark recording with the RAH Band was Clouds Across the Moon. Now, this was done slightly differently. By this time, Richard's studio setup was a lot more sophisticated, so I went to his house one day, had a nice cup of tea, a cup of coffee, that sort of thing. settled down. Richard had got the track to a really good state at the point, and he just needed the electronic percussion that I was doing. For the people out there who would like to know what gear I used, it was a Simmons SDS7, which I actually programmed on Richard's direction, which was absolutely super, using a much earlier sound of the Sim drums that go doo-doo, doo-doo. The difference with the Simmons SDS7 is that we could add a much harder edge, attacking edge, digital drum sound under the original softer analog sound. So that's essentially what made up Clouds Across the Moon. We spent a good probably 2.5 hours getting the sounds right, getting the feel right, but guess what, it was a great hit. And I was very privileged to be part of the band that appeared live on Top of the Pops, because also I'd been in the Top of the Pops orchestra under Johnny Pearson for many years, but that was more of a background thing, and here I was with Richard and his wife Liz on Top of the Pops in 1985 playing Clouds Across the Moon. What an exceptional and exciting occasion that was.
I've had a million different offers on the phone, but I just stay right here at home. I don't think that I can take it anymore.
Out on the road that you took, don't turn around, don't come asking for me.
Apart from all the amazing RAH band tracks that I worked on that I really enjoyed working with Richard on, also there were other projects that I worked with Richard on. Look, check out Dragonfly Days with Catherine Howe, a beautiful lady singer. Wasn't a big hit back in the day, but the production values and Richard's arrangements are simply sublime. The final project I worked with Richard on was a Jose Carreras album, which was produced by Sir George Martin, who I'm sure you know was the Beatles producer. This was done in his original Air Studios high above Oxford Street. So it's another album that's worth checking out just to hear the incredible talents of Richard Hewson. Regarding the RAH band here in 2025, I was very happy to hand on the baton, if you like, the drumming baton, to a lovely chap called Michael Connolly. Michael, I've had many dialogues with. He's a super drummer, a great chap, and I said, look, I hope you don't mind playing all my corny fills, as I like to call them, when the RAH band goes live. So that's another lovely story. Check out the RAH band wherever they are happening to be live. You'll be in for a super evening's entertainment.